Have you ever stopped to think about the real power behind the name of God? Maybe you've heard about him before, but what does it really mean to call on his name? What's behind this mystery that's been revealed through generations and still, to this day, keeps transforming lives in ways words can't even explain? If you think you know God's name as just something to say, think again. There's something much deeper and more powerful that you might not have realized yet, something that can completely change your life, your destiny, and your inner peace. The Bible reveals that God's name isn't just a word. It's a living symbol filled with identity, power, and purpose, and that power is available to you. What would you do if you knew that by understanding the true meaning of God's name, you'd hold the key to the fulfillment and protection you've been searching for? Sounds too good to be true, right? But that's exactly what you're about to discover. God's name, like never before, is about to be unveiled to you. Get ready, because the mystery is closer than you think. Did you know that God's name isn't just a title? It goes beyond simply identifying a deity. In the Bible, God's name is revealed as something deeply transformative, a direct reflection of his identity and power. It's not just a word thrown into the wind. It's a key to understanding God's immeasurable love. When you connect with that name, you're tapping into something far greater than you can imagine. Every time God's name is mentioned, there's a huge revelation. It's not just about knowing what to call him, it's about understanding what that name represents, his presence, his strength, and his goodness. This name isn't distant, reserved only for a privileged few. It's a gift for everyone who truly seeks to know the power it offers. And you? Have you ever stopped to reflect on the real impact of knowing this name? Imagine you're going through a tough time and someone calls you by your name. That's not just an identifier, it's an invitation to be present, to share, to connect. God's name has the same power. It's not a lonely title, but a manifestation of everything he is, always available to anyone willing to open their eyes to this great revelation. So, are you ready to learn more about the power behind this name? The story of Moses and the burning bush is one of the most iconic moments in the Bible. Picture the scene. An ordinary man tending his sheep, when suddenly he comes across a bush that's on fire but isn't burning up. It's in that moment that God reveals himself in a direct and powerful way, saying, "I am who I am." This wasn't just a simple name, it was a declaration of his eternal and incomprehensible essence. God presents himself as the one who doesn't depend on anything to exist. He simply is. When Moses questions him, God responds with a phrase that echoes throughout history: "I am." This name isn't just affirming that God exists, it's saying he's present at all times, in all places. He transcends our understanding of time and space. If you really think about it, this name carries incredible weight. It reminds us that no matter the circumstances, God is here. He always has been, and he always will be. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself how this revelation changes your view of his presence in your life? It's fascinating how this revelation of God brings us deep comfort. In moments of doubt or fear, we can lean on this truth: I am. It's not just a statement of existence, but a guarantee that God is present. He won't abandon us. When you understand that God is the I am, you start to see the importance of trusting in his constant presence. And how might that transform your sense of strength and security in tough times? While the world chases after wealth, status, and material possessions, true fulfillment isn't found in those things. The secret to real peace, security, and satisfaction lies in the name of God. When you understand that knowing God's name isn't just an act of faith, but a way to connect with the true purpose of life, the pursuit of material happiness loses its shine. Instead of searching outside for what's already within, you begin to realize that true fulfillment comes from a deep, personal relationship with the Creator. People all over the world rush to accumulate wealth and property, believing it will bring them peace. But what if the secret to true fulfillment was different? The name of God is the passport to a wealth that goes beyond the tangible, a peace that transcends any crisis. By trusting in that name, you align yourself with a divine purpose, finding in every small act an expression of God's love and protection. Imagine the difference it would make to seek His name instead of clinging to fleeting things. When you start to understand the power of God's name, you're no longer just following a faith, you're stepping into a new dimension of fulfillment. Those moments of anxiety and uncertainty begin to be replaced by a quiet confidence, a peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. Instead of focusing on what's missing, you start to see how much you already have, a direct connection to the source of all fulfillment. How would your life change if you started seeking more of this spiritual fulfillment instead of chasing what the world offers? The name of God, I Am, isn't just a statement of existence, it's a declaration of power. When you understand the deep meaning of this name, you realize He's not just saying He exists, He's saying He has dominion over all things. He's the force behind creation, the source of all power. This name brings a sense of stability because you know that no matter what happens, this power is available to you. In moments of despair or weakness, you can hold on to this truth. God is the I Am. He is present and He is all-powerful. Imagine the strength you'd feel if you knew that in any situation in your life, you have access to this limitless source of power. This isn't something distant or out of reach. It's a truth that becomes yours the moment you decide to connect with this name. It's not just an abstract idea. It's real and active, ready to intervene and bring change where you need it most. Have you ever thought about what it would be like to look at a problem and say, I have the power of the I Am on my side? When you apply the power of this name to your life, something shifts inside you. Instead of feeling small in the face of challenges, you start to act with the confidence that you're standing on something greater than any difficulty. The I Am is the key to activating divine power in your life, bringing strength to face adversity. So the question is, how can you apply this power more in your daily life, whether in moments of fear or uncertainty? God's name is often compared to a strong tower, a safe refuge where we can take shelter in times of storm. The Bible reminds us that the name of the Lord is a strong tower, a powerful expression that invites us to trust in that name, especially when difficulties seem overwhelming. In moments of crisis, when everything around us seems to be falling apart, God's name becomes a shelter, a place where we find protection and safety. It's a fortress that cannot be shaken, and in it we can rest, knowing we're supported by divine power. And you? Have you ever thought about how you could take refuge in that name more often, especially in times of uncertainty? This fortress that God's name offers isn't just an abstract concept. It's a truth you can live out every day. When you find yourself in the middle of a storm, it's in that name that you can anchor yourself. What would your life be like if instead of panicking in the face of challenges, you simply turned to this unbeatable fortress, knowing there's power and protection in the name of God? Maybe it's time to experience that security in a deeper, more personal way. Each name of God in the Bible reveals a profound aspect of His character, offering a glimpse of His greatness. Each name is like a window that lets us see a little more of His divine nature. For example, when we call God El Shaddai, we're acknowledging that He is the Almighty God, capable of making the impossible happen. The name Jehovah Jireh, the Lord will provide, reminds us that God is faithful to supply all our needs. These names aren't just pretty words, they're an invitation to understand more about who God is and what He wants for our lives. These names serve as constant reminders that God is greater than any human limitation. Each name has a lesson to offer. He is El Elyon, God Most High, the highest of all. He is Shalom, peace, offering a peace that surpasses understanding. When you start exploring these names, you encounter a multifaceted God who acts in different ways to support us. Have you ever wondered which aspect of God's character you need to experience most right now? Maybe it's the confidence of knowing He is Jehovah Rapha, the Lord who heals, or the hope that He is Emmanuel, God with us. As you get to know these names, you begin to realize that your relationship with God isn't some distant concept, it's deeply personal. These names aren't just written in an ancient book, they're alive and available to you. Each name is a door to a deeper experience with God, and with every name you learn, you get closer to understanding His greatness. So, what do you say? Ready to take the next step and explore more of these powerful names on your spiritual journey? God's name, so powerful and transformative, is a mystery that's deeply revealed throughout the Bible. From the burning bush to the revelation of I Am, to the various names that express His immense and multifaceted nature, the journey of knowing God's name is in fact a journey of personal discovery. Each name not only reveals more about who He is, but also about what He desires for those who seek Him. When you begin to understand the depth of these names, you realize that by knowing Him, you're drawing closer to an inexhaustible source of love, power, and purpose. For example, the name I Am isn't just a divine title, it's a key that opens the doors to God's eternal presence. Every time you call on that name, you're accessing a force that transcends human understanding. But this isn't something distant from you. On the contrary, this name becomes a practical and real experience, a source of transformation in your everyday life. And that's the revelation that changes everything. When you recognize the power and depth of God's name, you start living differently, with more confidence and faith. This mystery, then, isn't just about understanding more about God. It's about understanding your own role within this divine plan. As you come to know God's name, you begin to discover yourself in a new light, seeing yourself as part of something greater, something eternal. The question is, are you ready to open your eyes to this mystery and let Him reveal more of Himself to you? The power of knowing God's name is waiting for you, and your journey of transformation can start with a simple act of calling on that name. Now that you've discovered the hidden power in God's name, how do you plan to apply this revelation in your life? Are you ready to live with the confidence that this name isn't just a word, but a force that can transform your reality? Stop and think. What area of your life needs this protection, this fulfillment, or this peace that God's name offers? It's time to stop searching outside for what's already available within you, a direct connection to the Almighty. The key is in your hands. By calling on God's name with a full understanding of its meaning, you activate a force that can change everything: your fears, your limitations, your challenges. So, what are you waiting for? Don't put off until tomorrow the power that can be yours today. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and continue this journey of discovery that will take you to a new level of connection with the divine. Let's go together, because the best is yet to come.